The networking feature is currently enabled. Would you like to do a connection test?
Sorry if you couldn't hear me. I did not notice that it was turned off, the audio. But it should be turned on now. I'm just going to see if it's on. Sorry if you couldn't hear me. Alright, so... Yeah, I've been talking for a whole 8 minutes and no one heard me. That's great. Alright. So basically what I'm doing, so I have to describe it again, is I'm working on the networking scene for Mind Plague. And I'm going over how I did some stuff. And I'm continuing off, trying to figure out where I left off at. And yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it. So I think this happens when you click try again. Let's go to see what it's doing. Alright. Gonna go through this pretty fast. Preparing test. Server's offline, so it shouldn't work, which it's demonstrated already, which it didn't. There we go. Try again. It should try again. And it does. And it stays, which is good. Try it for the third time. There we go. And the server is powered by Team Fusion. Can't see that, but now you can. And this is how the hosting works. Right now it's connected to localhost, so it's not actually public. Just because I'm testing it and I'm still working with it. Needs a lot of improvements because it does have disconnection issues. There we go. Back to the scene editor. Alright, try again, and now it should connect because the server is online. Alright, that was weird. See if it's running in the background. Alright, one of it is. Which means that it did connect, just it did not reload. So I think it works on the second time, but not on the third time. So that's pretty weird. Thought it did work before. So now we just have to figure it out. This is using a time script. And I'm not even sure if this reloads or not. The start current time, wait for seconds. Yield return new. Because it creates a new rate for seconds. And I think it should restart every time, but maybe it's not. I hate using yield because it only works once. So yeah, let's just try it again. See how it works this time. I'm going to try it for the second time. Trying again with the server off at first, because that's what I was trying to figure out before. Alright, try again once. Or maybe it only works once, and it doesn't work the second time because of how the rate for seconds works. And we can try tweaking some stuff, Jesus. When it's paused. It's by enabling, disabling some stuff. Try again. Technically it's connected, because it's still opened up. It's using my custom networking API that I made myself from scratch. And still have to add to it. But yeah, that's how the networking works. So, timing script disabled. Enabled. Alright. Now I'm going to do it one time. Where after it fails, I just click try again once, and it should auto connect. After it's offline. Alright, let's see what it does. Now I'm going to turn the server on. Start host. Drag it over here. You didn't see that because I don't have my capturing set to that. And then try again once, and it should connect. Test was unsuccessful. That's super strange. Which means that you might just have to try it without trying again. This worked before, I swear it did. I don't know what changed. Maybe I didn't finish it or something, and then it's bugged out, and I have to figure it out. So I'm just going to try it again. So right now it's online. I'm not going to try again, I'm just going to connect to it automatically. Just to see if there's any bugs with the connection. So it did connect to the server, to the introduction scene at the very beginning of the game. But right now it's just nothing because I didn't even start that part yet. Still working on networking features. So, going to have to fix. I think this is fine. Or maybe this is what it is. Right here. This just simply disables a game object and enables another. And you can even reverse it so that it last is true, next is false. And then timing script. You get to set how many seconds it goes on for. And then true objects and false objects activates after this certain amount of time. But I'm wondering if there's something weird going on with here. Because I'm not sure what it is. Hello, Dancelot. How you doing, man? But yeah. Just need to see what's going on here. Oh yeah, this occurs when networking runtime.dll does not exist. Because it can actually be blocked by an antivirus, I believe, since it requests internet access at some point. But yeah, it's pretty much what it is. Powers the entire networking features. In Dancehall, I actually played some of your parody games. Actually, all of them. And they're quite interesting, actually. Alright. Not really doing much. So I'm just have to try to think of what's going on here. Because this should work. Well, it did before. What about this, though? So this enables the server, which is powered through this script, which uses my API to do networking functionalities. Alright, I have to switch over here. So it deletes the connection setup. What I'm reading something. This does feature just one-click team app to power networking, because this game has online functionality, but it's not going to be like a dark place where it interacts with your computer or anything. This game is much different. I'm going with an entirely different direction with this game, and I think it'd be a lot better if we just do that. except not much has been revealed yet, but I already know what direction to aim for it. It's a stealth action RPG-like game. I'm not even sure if this game would be horror related. I mean, at some point I was thinking about, you know, like halfway through the game it turns into a horror scene, but at first it's just going to be you're in the forest and you get to explore everything. And like the entire plot builds up pretty much. Yeah, Unity works. At first, it looks pretty hard to use Unity, but once you get used to it, it's actually like extremely simple. Especially with C# programming, I used to like hate this. I'd done JavaScript before, and I only did some simple commands. I didn't even know how it worked, but I did it anyway, and it works for what I'm trying to do. So I taught myself C# by simply just messing around with it, and I compared it with JavaScript, and it is quite similar to JavaScript in some ways, but you just have to figure out the differences and what's new. Like, these are functions just like a JavaScript, but they're much more flexible and easy to work with once you get used to it. It's a lot better, gives you a lot more functionality, and you can create your own APIs through just Visual Studio itself. And it's a lot better. I could say that for sure. Alright. Let's see here. Sets the server to localhost, which connects to the server program. You can't see it. Yeah, I'm just going to switch to OBS so that captures everything. There we go. And now, this is the click team program that it connects to, which hosts the server. And connect to localhost. And this says last digital points card, because this is an edited version of a Never Hoster program for another game that I was making. But yeah, should do something. Let's see here. Connect server, made that one time enable. This has to be under update because this is what powers the runtime for my API to work. Without it, it wouldn't pretty much function because it wouldn't be able to update its functions, which means that it wouldn't wouldn't function at all. The virus from a dark place, that's a false alarm because of I think, like in general, it blocks click team fusion programs, especially Malwarebytes, for no reason. And yeah, that's pretty much, it's a false alarm. Even the VBS scripts and stuff, it just means that it's not trusted. So, but it doesn't really know what it is. So it just auto detects false alarm stuff. But it doesn't actually harm the computer at all. Alright. A connected true, do all of this. And then it turns it false. But this is when it connects, so I don't think it has anything to do with this. But this is set to true at first. So we're going to need to check if this... Alright, let's see here. So it is enabled, set to true. It's public, so it sets back to false. But I wonder if I have to do anything to get it back on. Well, since it doesn't connect, so I don't have to. This is what happens first. That on connection failure, which just triggers some stuff. But I believe it should auto reload. Once it is, actually I can do a test really quick. I'm going to duplicate the script in the same game object and see if that makes any changes.
The networking feature is currently enabled. Would you like to do a connection test?
Actually, I'm going to pause this because it's enabled right now, the server. and I want it to be off so that it shows up with the error message. Alright, let's go back in. I'm just testing if the reverb works, and it does. Like, I added some audio effects, and when you pause, it like does a reverb effect on it. It's pretty cool. Alright, so this happens. So I'm just gonna press try again at some point. Effect is on. Alright, try again. Alright, maybe. Yeah. I was thinking that it wasn't working because it was minimized. But clearly it's opened up on here, so that means it is connecting. Alright, now I'm going to try to do a trick. Copy this component, paste, disable that, try again. Alright. And I didn't add any animation transitions for the visual effects yet. So it looks like I didn't get to here yet before, and I thought I did. But yeah, you can see it worked when it's re-enabled, which means I have to do some editing with the script so that I can actually re-trigger. Unless I create like a spawn for it so that it spawns in the game. Except I'm not sure how that's going to work. I could clones the game object so that it can redo what it's doing. Or if there's another way, just to have the script restart, but I'm assuming that my API isn't restarting at all, refreshing. Since that's not really connected with the script. So the script is restarting, but my extension isn't. Which means that we're going to have to either create an, oh wait, maybe we can do it through here. Where instead of having this right here, we can just comment this out. It's going to have errors show up, but that's fine. We can just add it here. So now A, which is what I called it, because just to make it easier and faster, more efficient. A has been spawned into here. What's been called, and I'm going to try it right here, just so that I can keep. Well, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I know when you do the new command and update, it only spawns one in to avoid issues with crashing. Because if that wasn't if the protection wasn't there with C#, then it would just automatically overload the memory and it would just bug out. But I believe they have like a protection feature against that. So good. Makes things a lot easier. So I'm going to try again and see if that trick worked. And if it did, great.
The networking feature.
Try it once. Alright. So I got the error this time. Server network error, network client failed to connect. I'm going to include the console and see if that occurs again. Alright, good. So this appeared twice, which means that it is probably reloading the script, which is a good thing. So now I'm going to re-enable the server and see if it does actually connect this time, without actually not doing anything. Goody, we fixed it. Wow. Now we just have to make the transition animations for it through the animator for the visual effects. So when that occurs, I believe that's the same. Yeah, it is. Probably just going to need to see what it's from. Connected server. This one says it's unsuccessful, and this one says it's completed. This is what we want. Start animation, slot name, start 3. So maybe I can make it so that it uses the same slot, so that I don't have to add 2 scripts to the same game object. But the animator is going to be somewhere else, like this. This animation is going to be, well, this isn't even the right game object that I'm trying to work with. It's hard to find because I named it something right now here. Yeah, this is it right here. This is what we want to be enabled, and then here, one of these, okay, it's this, or which one is it? Alright, this is it. From the very beginning to the success part. Now we want to have networking error go to here. This will have no exit time. And we are going to add start to read true. So now this and this links to here, which is what we want. And then at the end it cleans up. Well, that happens when an error occurs. Or maybe it works for both. Because, I believe it works for both. So I'm just going to save. Can't have that enabled, or else it's going to bug out. But actually, wait, it might work. So I'm just going to open it up. I'll just play test and see what it does. Because I didn't make the animation yet. But I want to see how it transitions from that to the success block. Something happened that wasn't supposed to happen. Yeah. Disable that. And this. Start from fresh.
The networking feature is currently enabled. Would you
Alright. Try again. So that's what it does. So the yellow, which is the computer, does it first. I mean, I guess that can work, because it did error out. And since it's a visual effect, it's hard to see that transition become weird. I guess we can add it anyway. So that it goes from red to green without going to red, randomly to yellow to green. So that it makes sense. You know, I guess it's weird to reconnect after it doesn't even work at first. But that can also be because of a glitch with the networking where it doesn't do it right at first. But I'm just going to create the clip anyway. Go and check if you can see it. There we go. And I'm going to name this networking underscore stop to success. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose all of the visual effects parameters that I have created. Set them all to 0. The ones that I don't want. And set the ones that I do want on at the first, all the way to 2. And then it goes all the way to 4 on the timeline. Alright. So right now, this is what it does. This disappears till we get what we want. So it goes from error, which would be this. Then what I want it to do is I want to like pretty much fade into a bunch of particles, because this is a transition, so we don't really need it to be solid at first, like this. Probably set it to something more. So it goes from this to 0, and this should be set all the way back to the defaults, which makes it makes the visual effects reset to 0, so that they don't exist. Then I'm just going to add this over here, just because it goes all the way to 4, and then this is when success enables all the way back to 1. So now at first it goes from red, fades out, green shows up. And I believe that's all we need. Just need to make sure that's right. Yep. Alright. And I have it set so that it loops every time when I create an animation by default, because I get annoyed having to turn it on automatically. Now I have to turn it off automatically every time I create a new one. There we go. And now in the animator, we just need to make that transition exist. So instead of this, we're going to move this. We're going to have it go all the way to here instead. And we just need to set everything back. And I believe we can use the same sort boolean, which would be this. So I don't believe we need to make any script changes. We just need to make a different transition, and this is what it is. Make sure that, okay. Now I'm going to go back, set everything that I don't need off. Should be this in here. Then save the scene. And then let's see what it does. So let me just turn this off first. And all this is here. Alright, let's see what it does. This here. Alright, let's see what. Any day now. There we go.
The networking feature is currently...
See how this works. So it goes from yellow to red, and when you try again, it stays at red actually, which is fine, because it doesn't really ruin anything. So try again. Red to green. There we go. So that was a perfect transition right there. And then since it's on green, I need to see, because this is a different success block, which means that to get it to clean up, we need it to, we need to make a different transition. Because when I click or press confirm, what the heck is happening? Maybe that's because I went to the animator or something. Because when it ends, it's supposed to stay at the same block, but that looks like an entirely different block in animator, so I'm not going to worry about that for now. Now we just need to make it so that it goes networking yes, networking success. So I'm going to check the animation to see if that's what we want or not. Do here, and then just going to switch it. Alright. Yep, I think that's what, yep, it's exactly what we want. So, just going to make it transition from here to here. Change this block, or this connection, and see what transition it uses. It uses N2, but we're going to set this to start 3. Set that to true. Then on the script, go back here, do another runtime test. See how it does it. Alright. It's enabled because I have this set by accident, but that's fine.
The network...
I'm just going to do this just for testing. Stays off, or it says it stays red actually. Just enable the runtime again. Try again. And that happened because this was enabled anyway. Well, actually, we could have used N3, or the transition that this used to go to the actual thing that we want, because technically it's the same. Yeah, it goes to the same game object, and it goes to the same dialogue, which uses the same features. So I'm just going to N2. I mean, so start 3 was basically what we didn't want this entire time. N2 is exactly what we want. There we go. That's enabled. We can keep that on. Alright. Let's see. So now it should work this time. Definitely should. And I muted audio, that's why I can't hear it. I'm planning to add more robotic voice lines for the rest of these. So far there isn't. Just so I don't have to keep restarting it. I also need to add a feature where I can automatically have this disable when it doesn't, like when it wants to. Because currently you can't turn it off through scripts. Also in ClickTeam there is something called Infinite 3D. What is Infinite 3D? Oh yeah, Infinite 3D is something that I made in ClickTeam Fusion. It's a 3D game engine that allows you to make your own games. Unfortunately, I canceled it because of excessive bugs that have occurred with it. I used a plugin for ClickTeam called Firefly, and actually I can just show it on stream right now, because the one I showed you, Dance Lot, was an actual older version of it. And now it was completely remastered, so that it has more features and more functionality, but there's no saving feature or anything. I think it might be this. No, I have too many files on my desktop, or everywhere actually. So I just have to like look through it all the time. Render test 4. This is it. Unless that's an older version, but I don't know. It could be this too, but we can check the date. Oh, never mind. Oh wait, yes, mine. Closing it. 7/9. This one doesn't even, 12/4. That one's newer than this one. But I might have placed it. Yeah, I know where I placed it. Right here. Don't even know where it's. It's called Diamond. There it is. Infinite Engine, Infinite Pro. It's Infinite Pro. This is it. Alright, here it goes. So this is the actual quote-unquote newer version. And so far, it doesn't really have much to show. It logs like hell when it puts on the post-processing, which is all third-party stuff. Don't even know if it's the latest version or not. Layers. Yeah, that's a feature. So there was going to be script, tools, animations, graphics, UI, but none of those exist because I never finished it first. We got global lighting. You can set the location. Apparently, because that's how global lighting works. Apparently, in this universe, but yeah, this is the light that it's using, and that's the world light. So that's global lighting right there. It's not that much of a radius, but intensity. So there is no radius, apparently. That's strange. What? Oh, intensity is radius. Or distance. And it's very, very slow with that. 99. Still very slow. So no matter what, actually. Then you can place the cube down. Oh yeah, you drag it in. That's how it works. Then you can just drag where you want it to be at. And this lighting is not correct. Oh, it's because of that intensity, apparently. There we go. So through here you get to modify this object to whatever you want it. Can't import any custom models yet, or at all, in general. There is custom prototypes, but it's all preset, pretty much, because it wasn't finished. So you get up to 9, but they're all, or 20, but they're all the same. And this texture doesn't work right on a cube, because it uses normal maps. But on a plane, it works. It's like the only thing it works on is a plane. So yeah, it's pretty odd. I think it does work on actual custom 3D models, but I'm not really sure. But that's pretty much it. And there's no poster, you just press escape. But that was my old project I worked on last year and didn't finish. Wait, that's the map from Real Life Engine. It looks similar. I don't think it's exactly from Life Engine, but because it was entire recreation pretty much. So yeah. Anyway, alright, where we left off? Did I just get into this? Yeah. Click yes. Click try again. And see how it transitions, I believe. Well, I think we already tested that. Try again. It stays that way anyway. Because it's too, the connection's too fast to really have that type of transition in. Unless I was very desperate to make some animations for it, but I think it's fine the way it is. Try again. Oh yeah, because it bugged out and now it works. Alright. So that's pretty much what we want, and then we can confirm it. Does that. Alright. Oh, fix that issue that we had before. And how much time did that take? Oh, it only took 30 minutes to fix. Wow. Now I just have to make the buttons more functionable. Like closing it when you don't want it. Except I'm planning to make the ability to go out of it, you know, like if you don't want to test. When I finish the transitions to the intro scene. Just so that it all fits together well. But so far, that isn't there yet. Until I make it. Because I got most of it done already, I just need to make that part. So now I'm planning to do the rest of the robotic voice lines for the internet connection. Because there's only one, as you could have seen before, like 20 minutes ago, when I didn't disable the audio. Yeah, that's the only voice lines it has. Touch connection, and these take a while to make. Like, only like, I mean, not too long, but to set up, I mean, as separate files.
The networking feature is currently enabled. Would you like to do a connection test?
That was a bit loud, sorry. But yeah, that's just what we need to make for the rest. So I'm just gonna go here. Just a minute. Alright, I'm back. I was just giving a frozen Coke. So yeah, now we just need to take this text, which says preparing test, and then we're going to put it on some random website that I found, which is pretty much text-to-speech, but it's like good. And no, that's not how the voice acting is going to work. I actually have voice actors for my game, like actual people. Alright. I think this is it. Then I set this to... It's hard to find because there's so many. Daniel or Oliver? No, not Oliver. I think it was Ethan or even.
Preparing test.
And I am going to just make it so it's not too loud.
Preparing test.
I think that's it, but I'm going to try Ethan.
Preparing test.
It's Ethan. Then this is what I do. I'm going to be recording while I'm recording or live streaming.
Preparing test.
That was a bit delayed, but I'll try again.
Preparing test. Preparing test.
I pressed the type accident. I got it. Then I just go to videos, go down here, delete the one that I don't want.
Preparing test. Preparing test.
And don't make it loop. Actually, that might have had a weird issue with it. So I'm going to disable the loop, just so I can hear if it has that weird end to it. If it ever opens up, I'm just going to open it on Chrome.
Preparing test.
Perfect. So no issues, even though I just saw some graphical glitches. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is go turn it. Oh, there we go. Cool. Thank you for telling me that one was MediaPlayer. MP4 to Wave. I'm going to convert this online so that I can put it in the game. Convert. I believe ClickTeam's like only $100 for the standard, and for developer it's like $300. I got the standard because developer doesn't really have that many features, unless you're like trying to do more advanced stuff. But that's for like computer apps. It's not really for games. The developer version, I mean. Standard, however, works perfectly for me, and it was worth it actually. So I used it for like 5 years. I guess Unity only accepts WAV files. I thought they used or supported MP3 files as well. I just don't use MP3 because it's less quality. Actually, I can try it, or I can see if I already have one in here. Like art gallery. That's a .ogg file. I believe it. Yeah, this is MP3, so it does support MP3. I believe it didn't before, but now they do, because it's been all updated and stuff. Alright, so now I'm going to name this something relevant, because that is not relevant. Desktop 2019. Nope. This should be prepared. Alright, prepared. Please. There we go. Now I'm going to drag it in to Unity into a relevant folder, which should be networking, XerNetworking. Not this. Not even this. Gameplay elements, connection. Here we go. Prepare voice. Drag it in here. Refresh, and there it is. Alright, there we go. Now I'm going to go here to preparing test dialog box. And switch it to that audio source. Well, I'm not going to switch out the audio source, I'm going to add another one. So instead of message 2, I'm going to actually switch this one out, prepare voice. Alright. I'm going to save. And see how it does it. Yeah, I think ClickTeam is a little bit overpriced. I mean, standards acceptable, especially for Firefly extension, which is 3D. But for 3D, it's pretty basic in my opinion. It doesn't have that many functionality. It's just basic 3D rendering that they use off of an open source engine that you can actually get for free. But yeah, Cookteam definitely overprices for apps. And you're right about developer, it doesn't really have that many changes to it. Just more features, but that's it. And you don't have to include a splash screen at the beginning, even though no one does that at all. They said that with the standard version you have to, but apparently there's no, it doesn't force you to do it. They just, they tell you that you have to, but no one really does it. Anyway.
Preparing test.
Alright, it worked. I'm not going to add a voice to connecting the server because that goes by too fast. So, networking test was successfully completed. That's what we need a line for. So now, it's going to do the same thing. What if I still have the website open?
Networking test was successfully completed. Online features will work as intended.
They had some weird voice lines to it. Sometimes I change some things so that it sounds better. Just by doing some grammar wrong, and it tricks it so that it works anyway, or so that sounds better.
Networking test was successfully completed. Online features will work as intended.
When it goes to as, it sounds very weird.
Networking test was successfully completed. Online features will work as intended.
Yeah, it so sounds weird. Not sure how that's gonna go.
Networking test was successfully completed. Online features will work as intended.
Ooh, that sounded more crusty. I do not like that.
Networking test was successfully completed. Online features will work as intended.
As intended.
Networking test was successfully completed. Online features will work as intended.
I'm just going to keep it that. And then recording anyway. Or probably we don't even need this last part. There, that would probably sound better.
Networking.
Oops. I started recording after I pressed play. Or before that.
Networking test was successfully completed.
Got it. Alright. What is this one? Kidding me? Okay. So I deleted the one that we just needed. This one's what we want.
Preparing test. Preparing test.
It sounds chippy in Windows Media Player, but it should work just fine in the game. That's because it's looping, I believe. Alright. Download. There it is. Complete. Voice. Go back to Unity and get out of this. And let's drag it in. That simple. Alright. So now we have this complete voice.
Preparing test. Preparing test.
It has an OK start. I noticed that the P at prepare is messed up. just a little bit, but it's not that noticeable, especially when it's going to be using reverb effect, which would just add detail over it so you can't notice it. Alright. Oh wait, that was...
Preparing test.
Oh wait, that was the wrong file. This is it.
Preparing test. Preparing test.
Ooh. Hoo-hoo. Oh. I think I uploaded the wrong file.
Preparing test. Preparing.
Alright. Nope. Here we go again. After this. Alright.
Networking test was successfully completed.
Go back here. Re-upload it. Make sure that the date's right, or the time. Because I don't know. 7:32. It is 7:32, so there we go. Convert. I'm just going to delete what we just down. I don't know how we did that. Yep, Cook Team and Firefly are pretty good. Okay, you have exceeded your limit. Oh my god. So you know what that means? Going to another website. I have used this one before too. Just takes longer on here. But yeah, Firefly is fun to mess around with in Click Team Fusion. It's hard at first because there's a lot of complex parts to it, like a lot of events that you have to do. And it takes a while to set up because there's a lot to it. But once you get the hang of it, it becomes pretty easy. I also have to like use an example to go off from because like there's like glitches with it, especially with the mouse lock where you can't move the mouse at all. Like, I mean, you can move the mouse, but it won't capture inside the scene, so the camera doesn't move at all. There's like a trick that you have to do to get it to capture. But it gives you all this: Firefly 2D text, Firefly engine, Firefly image, Firefly material cache, which is textures pretty much. The movement, which is the player, animated mesh, which is just animations out of 3D model. Never used Billboard, but I probably know what it is. It's like a sprite, but it's converted to 3D. But technically, it's flat. You can move it around the camera. That goes with the movement. Dummy, never used that one. I used light. I never used for particle system. Terrain I did. Static mesh I did. Perimeter I did. Text I did, but it glitches out. Water in the sky. Never used water, but I pretty much make my own to the static mesh and the sky. Well, yeah, I used the sky too. But yeah, that's the setup of it. But there's definitely a lot to it to get to work. But yeah, so we got our file. It's going to convert it, download, change this name to don't want to spell this one. Alright, let's see here. So I'm going to delete this because this is wrong. Drag this in. There we go. Then I just have to set it so that it goes all the way. Well, I have to copy this audio source first. And just add it in. There you go. That's pretty much all I need to do. And now when it succeeds, it would say that voice on it. We just recorded.
The networking feature is currently enabled. Would you like to do a connection test? Preparing test. Networking test was successfully completed.
Alright. So there we have it for that. It's probably all I'm going to add to it, really. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is, before even having this start up, I'm going to have it detect if networking settings is, like in the settings, there's a feature to turn it off and on, the networking. So I'm going to detect if it is on, this would show up, this entire setup, but if it isn't, it won't, and we could just go straight to the intro scene. So main menu, I'm just going to go here first, open up the playtest. Settings, networking, turn it off. So now in INI settings configuration, I'm going to go here, open up the script, and I'm going to see how it's doing it. So yeah, networking. It doesn't really change anything in the game yet, but maybe I can have it so that it sends something over through configuration loader. It's hard to explain, but I know how it's gonna work. Alright, is using network. Because it's very important. Then going to need to go to A, which is our object. Mine plate configuration. I need to see how it's saving it first, though, just so I know exactly how to get it. So this, the networking switch is this. Goes it's either from the camera to the button. I believe that's what it is, instead of just UI. So this settings dialog is just going to be hidden for now. I'm going to go here to camera settings buttons and see networking, which would be this. And then when you click it, switches this off and on, depending on what it's set to. So the setting name is networking. Alright. So now we know where it's coming from. Right back here. And then in Minecraft plate configuration, that's already loaded in, so we don't really need to change anything there. Now we just need to do this. Is using networking equals a.get networking, and it would automatically set to true actually. By default, that's what that is. And now it's detected as a Boolean, even though we can actually do get bool. But they even have an automatic feature. This is just an extension that I'm using. So it's just going to be get, just so that you can get everything from it. Is using networking is now set to either true or false. And we can go here. Well, actually, we don't even need to create a function, because if we make this public, it would be able to be accessed by another script so that we can see what it's set to. So yeah, there we go. Now, I'm going to go back to our networking scene. Here it is. And now we're going to see by this game object networking mode detect. And I'm probably, for now I'm going to save it. But actually, I don't need to have this, like have all this as a child for the game object, because technically only one thing powers everything else, like a startup. So I have to see what starts it up. I think menu rater is. It does the true object. It powers 3 things on, including out here. So we're going to disable this at first. Go to networking mode detect. And I'm going to create a script somewhere here. Just need to find a folder. Yeah, game object elements connection. Create script. Networking detect. Or maybe that's what we use. So mode TF, true or false. Alright, let's see here. So technically what we need is we need this here. Or we need to add the configuration loader here. If it doesn't freeze like it was here. Oh, it's because I created another script, but I didn't really make any changes to it. Come on. Alright. Configuration loader. And none of these are set, but I do have where the post processing is. It's this. And that's what it does when it's off or on in the settings. Oh, okay. I already have it. It's right here. So I don't actually need to add the script here. Alright. This is going to be set on by default. And I hope that it's fast enough to find the detection, like the change. So now, I'm going to drag a script over. Did I already create it? Yeah. Here. Networking mode T enough. Go back here. Or actually open it up. And then go back to Visual Studio. And now, I'm going to disable all this. And say, let's see. Alright. I think we need a behavior. Don't we? Technically, trying to see, or maybe we don't need this. So void on enable. It's private void. Yeah, that's fine. And then configuration loader is here. Get TF equals new configuration loader. Don't know if this is gonna work. Oh, it worked. All right. And then get TF. Just gonna see if it's here. Yep. So this is the boolean that we are trying to get. And now we need to detect if it's true or false. So if, just need to add here some parentheses. There we go. Get TF is using networking. Now we're going to have public. We're not in here, but outside of here. Public game object. Should be setup. Setup would now be set to true if networking is enabled. And if not, it should be an exclamation point, just opposite of wanting it. We're going to set this to false. And I probably want another thing as well, just to detect if it is, oops, if it is that way. It's called else. I'm gonna add it under here because I don't have one yet. Else should be set to true. Else should be set to false. Up here. Save that. Go all the way back to the scene. And now, I believe I disabled it in the settings already. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the folder at where the configuration is stored at. Stored all the way up in app data and local. Oh yeah, it's called default company, I think. No. It's called something. Have to find the company name. Like, from the configuration, which should be default company. It's stuck on the, oops. Sorry about that. I fixed it. Right now I'm trying to find the folder at which the configuration is saved at. Could be in, well, I don't believe that it's here. Yeah, I think yeah, here it is. Mine played reboot. Right here. Here it is. So now we got this. Can you set the size? Nope. So I'm just going to do it myself. Do font. There we go. Vsync false. We just need to find networking. And that's set to false. So yes, it is set to false. So now the networking mode shouldn't, like the setup for it, should not show up. So let's see that. Well, actually, we need to save the script first. I might, yeah, I think I got an error. If I can't play test, then I got an error. Public setup, public else. Is this the wrong file? Networking mode TF. No, it's not. It's supposed to show up with. Let me try responding to them. That's weird. That is so weird. Don't know why this isn't working. Is it even saving? Oh wait, or refresh maybe? Because I have auto refresh set to disabled because it messes up my editor. Like when I click out and click back in, it like freezes for a second. So I just disabled that so that doesn't get annoying. Alright, let's see what changed. Alright. Networking mode detect. Yep, there it is. I just had to refresh. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the parameters for these, and I believe one of them is what we want. Is it game object? I name them pretty weird, so I just have to guess till I actually look at it. No, it's not. Menu waiter is. Menu waiter is the setup. else we don't have yet, so I'm just going to set that to event system. And now, since it's set off, this, like the little animation that you saw before with this should not show up. It should be disabled and networking should not open up. Yep. It worked. Just in case. Says the truth. So now I turned it back on. Which means that everything should show up now. Unless the font. I think the font messed it up. I made the font too big. So now I'm just gonna open up the game. Just so I can choose the settings. Settings did save, but allow networking. Yeah, it was turned off. So that means that's in the script then. Don't know why my stream's lagging. I just need to see if it's low latency or what. Alright, let's see here. Okay. There we can mode detect menu. I'm just going to try it again, just in case, because I already changed it a little bit. Script. Alright. So if it is using networking, it should be set to true. Unless it's not getting it, so nothing happens. And try update. I know it's probably going to be an error in the console, which just allows me from doing it, like trying to get a reference from another script. That could be what it is. So I'm just going to check the console. Using the new keyword is not allowed, yeah. I already know about this. We can do this a different way, actually. So instead of trying to get it from another script, we can just use .ini file to get it from there instead. How's that? Oh, okay, it's not necessary to put it there. Alright. So that's fine, that's what we need. Now it's going to be a public. Actually, it doesn't need to be public at all. Check. Just do that file. Check will now be what we need. But we have to create a boolean on off and set on off to what check currently has in store for it. So now on off equals check dot get bool. You can see what it's from. I closed it. So here it is, networking equals true. So networking and then true. And then instead of get TF is using that networking, it's going to be this instead. So now it's all local. It doesn't have to detect it from another script. So it should work this time perfectly. Now we just have to refresh because it's a script edit. Alright, let's go. Alright, we should see the networking show up now. After it finishes importing them a million times. And I keep forgetting to change OBS, you know, the scene that's viewing, so I apologize for that. So yep, it worked that time. Perfect. Alright, I don't like my place corruption mannequin in this game's development files. Please, because I want to make parodies. But if you don't want to do that, I respect your opinion. Alright, I get it. But if I were to release the source for the game, then the game's pretty much stolen. Well, hold on. Plus, my place and the third place are paid games in a way for the special edition, and the special edition is pretty much featured like in the files, because in the free version it's still there, just it's not enabled. People can just take it and enable it if we're to. And parody games, also known as fan games, can also be created without having to use the source files. They can just use references from the internet that, you know, like sprites and stuff that's already created, and just create games with that instead. And my place doesn't use ClickTeam Fusion files, but if you mean like everything, like the Unity projects as well, I mean, it's potentially dangerous on my end if I were to just give the game away from free, because then the entire license would be changed for the game. It would automatically be published to the public domain if I were to do that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you can still make fan games, just, you know, you don't have to use the entire source to create it. Alright. So where we left off is where it worked. Now, I think I have to just finish the buttons, and I'm pretty much done with networking. And then that's where I make the entire beginning scene, where the player wakes up in a forest area. At first I'm going to make it so that it's all particles, so that they all combine together and make the forest itself, because I think that would be pretty cool for the cutscene. Alright. Oh yeah. Camera has the buttons. So I believe cleanup exists in the animator, which basically turns everything off from the visual effects. So we can have that work right now. Let's see. We might have to have everything go to this. So I'm gonna do that. Do a new boolean. I'm gonna call it something simple because it is relevant. Cleanup. And now from here, add the transition to here. Okay, it looks like it goes over there, so we don't need that. But I'm going to drag this out so that I can actually do it to everything else. Success, and yes, I don't think I need to do that for that. Stop to success, error, probably error as well. Probably through here too. And just check if it's there or not. So that's end. Oh, that's what end is. So we probably don't even need cleanup. This is set to end. This is set to end. Now it is. Now I'm gonna go back to the buttons. I use cubes that you can click on for the buttons. Yeah, I think this is it. Well, that's for the new game. I mean, like when you start a new game, you get a couple slots to choose up to. So I'm just gonna go here. Yeah, here. I wonder if this turns it on automatically, the buttons. It could. Maybe it doesn't. I think it's your it's your menu rating. Menu rater. Goes all the way up here to begin game. And all of these can be set to true. You can't see it because it's too dark. So I can actually turn the lighting off. Yeah, there we go. I can see it a little bit. And now for this object, which is pretty much the X on the top, I'm going to have it so that it should not have all this. So it's going to have click, left click, slot animation. Well, yeah. Probably going to set it to what it is, which is slot animation. And then on and off. On would be network close, which would transition to all the animations. So we're gonna have start just animations. True or false? True. End. And is it end too? No, it's just end. So network close. Here it is. And an animation. But 4 would be on now here. Somewhere. Here it is. On or off. Or not on or off, but on and off for game objects. And I definitely know what we want to turn off. So we're going to have it flip baloney script. Last would be begin game. Then slot overwrite mode 1 would be we go to off. I'm just going to set this to something random because we don't really need it. Like, and canvas can be. There we go. So now we got network close done. Now I'm just going to need to disable all of this. Go back to the cube. And on is set to network close. Alright. Then we're going to disable this and see how it does it when we close out. Alright, so now when I click X, There it goes. Alright. So that worked fine. Now all I need to do is save the scene. And I have one more button to do, which I believe would be on the right. Alright, so not that one, but this one. And when I enable slot overwrite one mode, we can see what it's for, and it is for not now. So not now is pretty much the same as the X on the top. So now we can go here to correct, the one on the right. And sub menu selection, we can just copy, left click. I believe that's pretty much it for that. After we do one more test. Not now, and okay. File wasn't going to work for a second, but it worked. I think the reason why it kind of lagged like that was due to has exit time was probably set to 1 at some point. It was set to 1 on here, or true. But that's pretty much fine, because technically it does fade in when text shows up. So, guess we can just set that on or leave it on. Save it again, just in case. And there we go. So yeah, that's pretty much the most basic part that we got done. Connecting, and we did get done with try again. Oh yeah, so this disables networking feature if it doesn't connect to the server at once. Or like, you can decide if you want to keep the networking mode on despite what happened where it doesn't connect successfully. So that's pretty much, I believe that's all I need to get done for networking, and then we can just start the scene. Alright, so yeah, going to find out where the button's at. Saw animation, just need to find where it's from on the camera. So we got try again done, that part's done. It's just yes and no, which would interact with the .ini file. Begin game. When it's not that, I think it's this right here, error. And we can even check. Yep, it is this. So I'm probably going to do. Yeah, I'm probably going to do no first. And have it so that we don't need any of this menu selection stuff. That's for the main menu. Left click we do need, so that we can trigger stuff to be enabled. I believe we can do network close, but technically the error sign is going to show up. So I believe we can transition to, well actually, no, that would work just fine actually. Network error can go all the way up to end time. And that can be set to true just fine. So I think we're all set. You've already finished no, which keeps it on despite what happened. So that's pretty useful. It's going to disable this. Copy this. This should be set to yes. Go all the way to here. Double click it so it was right there. And now we need to match it with the box. We almost got it. The rotation's a little messed up, but we can just stretch it using the width and have it so that it's perfectly right there. There we go. It's going to drag it to the side a little bit. Perfect. Alright, now what I'm going to do, so I'm going to have it so that it opens up another network close, but with change. I'm going to have this direct, or go directly to this. Right there. I'm going to disable mesh render because we don't need it. Now what I'm going to do, just disable everything that we don't need. There, close but with change. Now what we need to do for this is we need to add a script or create a new script. Unless I already have a script, probably don't. So I'm just gonna create a new one and just name it networking off. Alright. For this, I'm gonna refresh. Alright, still loading up. Alright. So here's networking off. I'm just going to open it up. Alright. Void on enable. No. Alright, file. And then change your. There it is. Alright, intro. There we go. Now, we are going to have it so that changer changes its our set. String key would be networking. And we're going to change this to false. Alright. If that's right, yep. There we go. Now we can just exit all of this. Refresh once again. Alright. So after it's done loading, I'm going to add the script to network close but with change. And that will change the INI file and its configuration to what we need it to set to. Right, here it is. Alright. That's pretty much all we need. After that, I pretty much believe that we're all set. So here's yes, it goes to there. Alright, so right now it is set to true. To now, when I click yes, the dialog should not disappear yet because I didn't add anything to change that. But what should disappear is not only the visual effects animation, but the thing that's networking should be set to false in the file, or in the INI configuration. And then we're all set once we verify that it's working. So I believe what it can do is close out of the runtime, close these so that there is no internet connection. Then we're going to have it fail to connect since the server's turned off. Alright, there it is. Now we're going to click yes. There we go. Now I'm going to verify that the change was done. Apparently it was not. Oh, I know why. In the file, Visual Studios script, I did not save the changes that we made. So now I'm just going to do that really quick. Changer .save string file name. I believe it's the same. There we go. I think we're all set. So we did pretty much just finished networking features in just an hour. Okay, that's pretty much most of it right there. Alright, let's see what it does. Click yes. You can hear the sounds. Try your balance. Stay as it. Just to make sure that the things are set. Yes. Now I'm going to check if the file was changed. Right here. And what the heck? So, or maybe, yeah, I think it's because I didn't refresh the project. Let's go and see if the, yeah. I believe that's why it didn't work. Alright. Let's go and test this one more time. Just to verify that the change is being made. Alright. So it connects, but it doesn't connect. Click try again. Doesn't work, click yes. And now our dialogue should disable. Alright. Cool. Let's see if it's on. And the reason why I say cool in that way was because it didn't work. Where the change wasn't made for networking. And I don't know why. So we have our iChanger. Yep. And this is the file that we're loading it from. Unless it's not loading at all. That could be why too. Which means that we have to check our older strip, my configuration loader. So that works. Or we got that part right. But it's just trying to set setting the changes doesn't work. That's pretty much all it is. So this gets everything else. Just sets it. Alright, this is networking. I don't have the script opened up. So I'm just going to check that really quick. Configuration loader. Get it? So it would be vertical bool. That would be the script. We can hear a.save. Alright. So I believe that we did do it correctly. It's just something's wrong with it or something. So it is set to on enable, which means that as soon as it comes in, it should do it. And because of that, we could probably just reload the script and see if there's a change that was made in the file. Alright, right now it's set to true. So now, in real time, with maximize on play off, I'm going to do that a couple times. It's still set to true. I'm trying to see if it's getting set by something else. Nope. But maybe it is when I'm getting, like, as soon as I start it up. Even though the dialog's not going to show up anyway. Networking setup isn't going to show up, so it should just be this. Alright, wait, that's weird. False. But it opens up anyway. Which means still set to false. So it was working, but then it just somehow did not detect or change. Which should be right here. This is what I want to have. Date modified 8/22. So it was, well, that's probably because I have the, I did that. Off. It's so strange how it doesn't work. Because it is set right. I'm just going to see if it changes anything. Disable it, yes. Well, can't really find out if it changed or not, because technically it was already set to false. So I just need to figure out why it's not working. So maybe networking mode detect didn't work because something else was on. Doesn't look like it though. And it is already set to false. Networking thing that we want. And the part where it starts up with the dialogue worked before, but now something happened, like something changed, and now it's not doing what we want it to do anymore. So I have to see if it does it this time. But sometimes it's just something random that happens. Because you think it should work, but it just doesn't. Yeah, it's not supposed to show up. It's supposed to just stay disabled. So networking mode detect, menu reader is set on. But stranger it's set off. But that happens because this turns itself off, which makes sense. The thing that I don't get though is how it's detecting file. What I could do is I can try to debug it and detect if the boolean's being set at all. Because it is set to, by default to true. And maybe it's not getting changed because of how it's being interacted with somehow. Yeah, it is turned on. So yeah, I'm going to set my boolean to public on here. And just to see if that makes any sort of change. Well, it shouldn't, but it should allow us to see if it is being interacted with or not. So we'll get on off networking. That is the name of the file that we want. And that's set to true by default. Hello, Lilio. How's it going? How you doing today? Set this to false. technically it should be true by default, but it's not really making any sort of change. We need to see if it's not making any sort of change if we set to false. So I'm going to set the default to false, which it should be set to true, but only if the file didn't exist. Because technically, maybe it's because it's not detecting what we want it to detect. So I might have to delete this file if it doesn't work as we want it to. Turn this set to false. Let's see if it doesn't show up. Just to make sure that the turn off part works, and it does. So probably just going to need to delete the MindPlay configuration file and just create a new one. Because I think me changing the font probably messed it up, or it could be something else. Just going to set this to true again. Save the scene or the file, and then just going to do a quick refresh. Or don't need to. I think it's 2 a.m. for you. Right now it's 8 p.m. for me. I started live streaming at like 5 p.m. But I'm doing fine. I'm doing quite well today. Alright. So now all the changes are saved. I disabled the, or didn't disable, but I deleted the file. So now I'm going to create a new one with the compiled game. By default, yep, everything's set by default. There we go. Set this to 1080p. Set to full screen. I'm going to see if it captures that or not. Alright, while networking should be off. Alright, so we made our changes. Go to quit. And now the file should exist now, which it does. And now networking is up here instead of down here, and it is set to false. So now in our script it's technically set to true by default. But now it should be set to false as soon as we start the scene, because it should be taking it from the file and not from itself. Let's see how this works. Alright. So technically it didn't work. I don't know why. Alright, so this... Wait a minute. Okay, I see. It's because in the script, by default, it's set to false. Well, no, it's set to true. In the file, technically, it is set to false. I don't know why it's not changing anything, though. Oh, wait. Configuration loader. Well, that's confusing. Wait, check? Let's check. Okay. How did this work last time? So technically, it's not loaded. Or it's not loaded in the scene. Because it's not loading the file as it's set to nothing up here. So this is now set to file, so now this part should work. Alright, I did detect that, I believe. Gonna refresh anyway, just in case. go back, and after that, okay, it should work this time because I fixed the issue that it had. Alright. Yep, it worked. Great. Whoa, whoa. I think that happened because... So, in the configuration file, it's set, the audio was set to off. To 0, I mean. You can just change that back to 100. It's cool how it works, where it's global. It's the audio, even if it's set to, like in the master and the settings dialog, render in the main menu screen. When you have it set to 0, everything else, like in the actual game itself, would also be set to off, like the audio. So that's good. That's good that it actually detected that. Because I didn't know that I had the configuration loader in here, in the scene, before. Now I know. I knew before, like 10 minutes ago I knew. Yep. Works just fine. Alright. I'm just going to set it to true again just so we can finish the last part of the networking features. Then after that we can start the introduction scene, which would be the beginning of the game. And I do have an Xbox to connect to do the animations with, so yeah, that's how that's going to work. But I had to mess around with it to get it to work properly, and it actually turned out pretty good, especially from my demo video that I did on the YouTube channel, the facial animation demo. It just shows out how well it turned out. So technically I have it set to true now. Now I'm trying to get it to actually detect that change. So in networking mode detect, on off should be set to on, which it wasn't before, it was set to off. In the script, true by default. I'm wondering if my changes in the file is making any difference. This font is pretty... Don't even know if it matters or not, the font, really. I just did that so it's easier to see, like, beforehand. Because technically when I close it with the font change, it doesn't make it change. So it's just notepad. So that shouldn't be affecting the problem. It's on, off, capable. I'm just going to have this set to get, because it should already exist. And I always had good luck with just the get method. And then this would happen. There we go. Alright. Now I'm going to refresh and see if that made a change. Alright. Let's pause and there we go. Refresh so that it compiles the scripts. Alright, and now play. Well, let's see if it opens up this time. It should. Alright, here we go. Maybe it's because, check what's this. I believe if we do this, that could make a change. So check. Yeah, that's a local variable. That's fine. We can, instead of global variables for our ini file, I think making it local might fix the issue. Because with this didn't even work. But if we add it to the onEnable, the function, maybe it would work. And if we check something else that I already done, like I think it's called, or ini configuration order. That's what the file's called. That's already opened up. Yep, I added it right there beforehand. So I believe if we add this here, it would fix the issue that we're having on both scripts. So now, I believe it should be fixed this time. It's gotta see and look. Alright, here we go. Let's hope that we don't have to keep working on this one part anymore. Yep. Compile. Does it again. That's because I got the visual effects graph opened up, and it always does that every time, since auto compile is enabled. So that's why that keeps happening. Alright, here it is.
The networking feature is currently enabled. Would you like to do a connection test? Preparing test.
Alright, so now we're at the part where we have to disable, or we don't have to. But optionally, we can disable the networking feature. This is the part that we're trying to get it to work. So now when I click yes, the file should change, and it did. So yep, that issue is fixed. Both of those issues are fixed now. And the way it said preparing kind of sounded a little weird. Let me just find it. Not that. That part's fine. But like before it connects, preparing test. Probably just going to disable that voice. That X is your logo? Yep. I mean, technically, like in the visual effects, that's my logo, but I have it in here, like my actual logo that I updated. No, not that. Somewhere around. I think it's in the menu. Right here. So this is pretty much my logo. And it was the X instead of my face, pretty much. Just so that it works with the visual effects. Because the visual effects doesn't detect this part. It only detects the outside parts that are transparent. So yeah, it's gotta work with that. But yeah. So yeah, we got that issue fixed. Now, we just have to close the dialog boxes automatically after we choose yes or no. Pretty much for both of those. So in game, networking test was successful. We got that done. This is finalizing, which that's pretty much done. Oh yeah, I have to get this part done too. So crit. It's gonna make one for that. Oh, we made one, but I didn't. Like a button. So error 1. Let's spread out far. And no would be on the top, I believe. Oh no, it's just in the middle and it's just transparent. So I'm just going to remove that. So in error 1, it's going to be called fatal error. Because technically it is a fatal error. Where a file doesn't exist that's needed to work with the networking. If that's so, then the game's files could be corrupt or something. Or it could be blocked by an antivirus too. So that's what all this tells you when it doesn't actually find it where it needs to work. So now I'm just going to have it so that I will have this cube, which is pretty much the button, go right under continue. And I'm going to delete a copy and paste yes and change it to no. Well, technically it's quit, so I'm just going to rename it just so it makes sense. It's close. The rotations also mess it up, like the accuracy with the movement of the cube to make it more accurate. So we're going to need to scale it a little bit. Yep, there we go. Probably can do the same for continue as well. Yep, that's good. Let's move this just a little bit. Yep, just so it's all covered. Alright, so now I'm going to do quit first. The button. Left click. Never close but with no change or no change. So instead of that, it's just going to be another game object that it connects to, which would be force closer. And then force close will automatically quit the game. Quitting script and just see if it's alright. I'm going to make quitting to script because quitting, like the original script that I put on, it only takes 5 seconds to quit. I want to just quit like instantly, unless I changed the number to perimeters, but it's fine if we just create another script. Alright. So I got this opened up. Just gotta make sure that the file loads up. So quitting to .cs. Let's go. That's what we're going to open up in Visual Studio in a little bit. Just have to wait for it to compile it. Just because I created a new script. Alright, there we go. So now I'm going to open it up. There we go. Just gotta wait for it. There we go. Alright. So now, technically I want to do a void on enable. Application.create. And that's it. Yeah, that's a script. Just crits and that's it. And now we are going to connect the button to force close, the game object, after we compile again. Actually, I might just turn refresh on, or automatic refresh on, just so I don't have to keep doing it manually. So preferences, general auto refresh. There we go. But yeah, technically it works. So now, all right, here we go. Alright. Now, time to connect the buttons over. Create. Yep. Gotta wait for it. Ooh. Okay, now a glitch is happening. Where basically it automatically compiles for no reason. Oh man. How I can fix this. Because technically I cannot do anything right now. Wherever I click, it just automatically refreshes, which sucks. And plus rerouting this too. or making changes to it. Now that's not going to save if we close Unity. Came and closed the visual graph, because that's right. Now I can. Oh, now I can't. Jesus. Unless I can right click somehow and just close it from there. Close tab. Alright, there we go. Yep, alright, I got it fixed. Auto refresh is just going to stay off for now. Technically, because in Unity 2018.3, I guess it's a glitch that wasn't fixed yet at the time. But it was a conflict with the visual graph. Alright. There we go. Alright. So now it's got to connect the buttons finally. So instead of network close, but we've changed it, we force close for on. And then that happens and it closes automatically. Continue, however, will close this dialog box and everything that's present behind it. And we go straight to the beginning of the game. Which isn't made yet, but I'm about to make that soon. So now, photo error. Yep. Just gonna save that. Go to yes. Then left click. Network goes back. I'll change. I believe both of these go. Yeah, they go to the same thing. So I can just do this. Alright, and then for this, I can just copy this over here and set it to the things I don't want. Unless I have it delete 3, no. So, fatal error last. Then I'm going to do the same for the UI. Put that there. Then after that, network close. Because there's more to do. Just like at the very beginning as well. Oh yeah, that's already covered. But also when it's done all the way, network tests were successful. We're going to have that also close when it needs to, which should be here. And then the buttons for that as well would close. So we're going to go all the way to that. Success would close. Error 1. That would close. Yeah, that would close. And then the error, I think 6 is it. Nope. 7 is that. I think 8 is, or 2. Could be 2. No, that's connected to something else. It's going to hide that. Frame test. 1, 3, 4. Alright, so 4 is what we need to disable last. Then after that, we're pretty much all set. After I copy this, paste it. Then set this to 4. Alright, there we go. Network close, but with change, would have something very similar. It would just be this. With those 2 changes, and that's it. Alright. Now I'm thinking of what else we need to do. That could be it for the networking part. We could be all done with it. Now I just need to test it. Let's check if it was enabled. No. That's fine. And the reason why it wasn't was because we disabled it before in here, like when it got to the error part. So that means that part's working, which is good to hear. So I'm just going to set this on right to the script, and it should work. I'll still be loaded up. Which means that we probably have to do it manually. menu waiter. There we go.
The networking feature is currently enabled. Would you like to do a connection test?
Yes. So that disabled the part in the configuration for networking. Yep, it did. And the dialogue disappeared, which is good. Because that's what we want. I wonder if I can just restart from here. Do menu waiter.
The networking feature is currently enabled. Would you like to do a connection test?
Don't mute the audio. Because all we need to check is if the buttons are working right. So no, yep, that worked. Go back to menu waiter. I think this is the only part we need. Well, actually, it's connected, right? What I was expected. So that now closes the dialogue. Do an animation. And because of that, it's not going to reopen for us. Plus, I don't even know if that part has the button set right. So I'm gonna check. For here, yep. And this connects to a button, or to begin game. Yeah, one of these are menu selections. On the right. When it's enabled. Yep. So the buttons are not set right for that, or button, technically, because... Or actually, that was... Well, that part was right. All of it was right. The left actually starts the networking sequence. Alright. So that part works. It's gonna redo the test. I'm gonna see what I need to re-enable again, menu waiter. Alright. Loose37 says, I'm making some memes on my place and a dirt place. Can I post them on DeviantArt? Sure. I have no problem with it on DeviantArt. So yeah, I'm 100% fine with that. Yes. Okay. Yep, no problem. That was my reply to your comment. Networking test was on. Yep, good. Try again. There we go. I could make an animation sequence for that. Just to add some extra detail to it so that it's not just off. It's not just set to the red stop. So I'm going to do that in Photoshop. But first I need to set my OBS so that captures that. Do here. There we go. So Photoshop. Going to create a new file. What I'm basically doing is I'm creating a 3D object in Photoshop so that I can convert it to a point cloud graph in Unity to make a visual effect with it. And what I'm doing is I'm making a refresh arrow so that it like redoes the tests pretty much. So now I'm just gonna set those parts up. You can't make it detailed in Photoshop, like the model part, because then the model would be messed up a little bit, especially if you had glow effects and stuff like that. So it's good to just keep it simple. going to set the background of the block. Now I can see the shape until I go back here and change the color here. But I might just redo that for shape 1. Okay, now the background's back, but I'm going to disable that again. Then in fill, I'm going to set this to a color of white. Create again. There we go, and then put the background back. Now the width of the outside layer should be changed lower to 1, I believe. Or no, that's not the part I want to change. The stroke or the fill, unless apparently the fill is the outside part. But I believe that should have been. Oh, that's for the. Okay, I see. So technically, we want to make it smaller. Just need to figure out, because this. What the heck? Okay, that can work too. Yeah. So we just need no stroke, right? Unless, because that was at the black. Okay, I see, it's in the inside. Because with no background, you're going to see that. So what we can do is we can actually, we can convert this to a flat image. And I'm just going to take this part, the inside part, use the magic tool and select it to put in a new layer. There we go. Then I'm going to add the background back again. There we go. Now I'm going to go back and create the refresher. Alright, here we go. So custom shape. I believe we have some sort of arrow here. Yeah, we do. Except it's not curved, but I believe you can do that. Make it curved. Just need to see how that works. Alright. I mean, I know you can do that with text, but with text, yeah, do up there, it'd be a little bit weird. Unless we use a Unicode to do the character map. And somehow. Yeah, I think the area we can do it. We have some sort of area here that we can use. Let's see. That looks cool. But we don't need it much. Let's screw down. Yep, here it is. So this is all we need. It's this arrow. So now we can close that and add it there. And the font isn't right for arrow. So it's going to appear weird. No, there we go. Oh, that works. Alright, so now I'm just going to add an arc to it. So that happens. The arc's up like that. Select the entire thing and set this to double. There we go. Triple. Add it right there. Then I'm going to duplicate this object, or this layer. Add it right here. And let's rotate it. Like this. Then I'm just going to confirm that. Scroll this down here. And there we go. That's pretty much all we need, really. Except, could be a little bit of an update. But for the most part, I think it's fine. It's gonna separate them just a little bit. Yep. Alright, there we go. So now, all I need to do is flatten this part, put the background. Okay, we don't need that. So that's going to be disabled after we flatten these layers. To up here, flatten layer. that merged visible, which actually included what I didn't want. So merge the layers that are, yep, there we go. Now we're going to create the 3D part. It's a new extrusion, select a layer. That converts it to 3D. Now we select this, or the object, and we set the extrusion depth lower so that it's not too much. Just need it just right. I believe that part works fine. Alright, there we go. That's pretty much all we need. Now I'm going to export to an OBJ inside of the networking folders. It's all organized. Good play on this connection. And just redo or try again. That's fine. Alright, there we go. So we got what we needed. Gonna go back to Unity. Now PK tool. Yep, mesh. Point count will be 10,000. Mesh. Well, actually, after we refresh my one again. There we go. Somewhere it's here. And this is the wrong folder anyway. Connection, and it should be redo right here. I'm going to drag this up here to mesh baking. Okay, we're going to bake the mesh. I'm going to put in the same folder as in, which should be in the gameplay elements connection. Well, actually, just here. Try again. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the visual graph. Right now it's not open because it glitched out my Unity, so I'm going to just reopen it here. Visual effects graph. Now I'm going to switch to OBS so that you guys can see it. There it is. So I'm going to select my asset, which should be now here, which is what it's called for the particle effects that was shown. There it is. I edit. Alright, it's importing right now, and here it is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this. Yep, and copy and paste it. Drag it all the way out so that's not conflicting with the other boxes, and then we're going to drag it here. And the point cache, it's going to be from success. That's going to change all the way to try again. Alright, still importing. Alright, there it goes. So now we're going to create some new floats in the parameters. I'm going to create 2 of them. I'm going to name the first one again vapor, the second one again max. Set them both to exposed. Now we're going to replace success vapor and success max with again vapor and again max to the set lifetime random. Alright, here we go. Alright, so that part's done. You can check this. This part makes it so that it has a pulse effect to it, where it fades in and out, kind of. And this applies to color, so that it brightens up and dims down. Now we have the direct force field, and everything else should be set. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to scene. And now, I'm going to open it up again. Now here. And see how it looks after I switch it over. Alright, so it worked for the most part, but the positions were wrong. So what we need to do because we need to drag the positions over. Probably set that in there, yes. Alright. So right here, so I'm going to change all the way to here. Go back to game, make sure that's right. Okay. Set the Y down too. It takes quite a bit because it's a little change. It's got to get it just right. This part, however, is very sensitive. Alright. So that's pretty much good for the most part. So Z needs to back up a little bit or forward. Technically it's the opposite because it's flipped. Alright. It's got to line it just right. There we go. And that's how it turned out. Let's need to see if it's right. Now here, okay. So let's see if it matches with it. It kind of does, it's close. So I just need to make a little bit of change. Just almost there. Alright, there we go. That's pretty much what we need to do. So now that part's done. Now we just need to add some transition animations to it. So I'm just gonna disable both of these. Or actually just keep this enabled. Alright, and then we're gonna go to the animation. Whoop. And now I'm just gonna go to the animation.
That's all you got?
Yep. Let's see. Alright, here it is. So basically we create a new animation for the networking, or the networking animation part for particle effects, and then gameplay elements. Go name this, try again. And this is going to transition from, I believe, stop all the way back to reload. Then it's going to go back. Not too bad. Premiere soul set. Alright. Game Vapor. Alright. I need to put all the parameters right here. Have them set all the way to 0, which is done for me automatically. Due to glitch, actually. Because it's not supposed to. Like, there's a glitch where you have to actually only change it through here. Like, what you want the value to be. And you can't actually. Well, I had it record, but I was just demonstrate. And technically that's saved anyway, because it's glitched out. So I'm just going to set that to 0, and there we go. So I believe we got it, yep. Which is up here. And I'm going to set it so that stop, where is it? Yeah, I didn't add it. No, I did. This will go from 1 to 5 or 9. So if I'm here to here, as it transitions, all the way to 0, and this would be the value for in the timeline we've set to 2, and then we go all the way to up to 4 on all sides. So just gotta put all those in. Alright, now I'm going to change it so that 2 goes all the way up, or not 2 goes all the way up, but at 2 I'm going to change it so it again comes up just like that, where it goes from 0 to 1. There we go. So that happens. I notice how much bigger. Yeah, there's a size difference there. And I think the transition's a little too slow, especially for a fast reloading time. And that part seems like it's fine for the most part. So I'm just gonna up it up just a little bit. Yeah, I think that's fine. Because it's very fast. So it needs to be very fast. let's see. I'm going to compare it now. Well, actually, after I wasn't even recording. Okay, well, it's fine. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare again to air. Because technically this is the only part where it shows up after air. Could be scale too, yeah. Except that just completely, okay. Let me see here. That makes a big change. Alright. Let's set this to 0.5 on a lens. Yep, that works. Alright. Good. There we go. Perfect. Move this just to the side a bit. And there we go. That's all we need to do. Alright, after that, I'm gonna check something a little bit. So we'll be right back. Alright. Now I'm going to set the values of the particle effect to 0. So let me just see where it's at. Now here. Set it all the way back to 0 again. And in the animator, it should transition perfectly. Do the with the size right. Yep. That's pretty much all we need. Alright. So now we got that part done. Pretty much all we need. And now what I need to do is in the animator, I need to have it transition all the way to what we need, which is this. And I'm not sure if we need to create another one of these or not. But it should be through. Alright. Let me see here. If we go all the way up to the thing that we need, should be here. Somewhere around here, yeah. Network tester or something. Yep. Try again. Try again, which I believe is this. On all ends, which is this, and yes, is that again. There we go. It's just weird. Like it's in a weird order, so I'm just gonna flip it upside down. Alright. Left click goes all the way to slide animations. Goes all the way to here. Which redoes everything pretty much. And separate from the original. Which benefits us. So now I'm just gonna disable all this that we don't need. Except I'm gonna go all the way up to 8. Which reconnects again. And I believe we can add a start animation or a script that detects this mark. Start animation and set the slot name to restart. Start animation 1 would be now here. If I can find it. Alright. On and off. Don't think we need that at all. Alright. So now all the way back to now here. Should. Let's find it. Yep, here it is. Alright, try again. Restart. I believe it's called. Yep. Alright. So now restart. If restart was enabled from, I believe air is what we need. make the transition all the way to here. Doesn't have an exit time, but it should have restart set to true, which will allow the transition to work properly. And that would be up here or down here, so that's just in the correct order. Alright, and another thing that we need is we need another transition that goes all the way back to network error again, if it doesn't work. If it does work though, we have it so that it changes it from start, from stop to start to success. Alright, so now I'm going to find the animation here, create a new one. Not successful again. Or no success again. Alright. So in here, I'm going to have it so that set all the defaults back to 0 again. Configure max, configure vapor. Alright, here we go. The last two are vapor max. There we go. Now, technically it was fast before, but it doesn't really matter. The speed doesn't really matter since it goes all the way back to the error dialog. So we can set it to 2 and 4 again. Alright. So now, this is going to go from redo to error again. So here's this. That's what we need. Go back to game, see if it's there, and it's not. There it is. And now, I'm just going to have it do this. And this is where error shows up. But actually, no, it's not. It should show up at 4. There we go. It looked correct for the most part. So I'm not sure if it's fitting it right here. Oh, it is. It was just a bit slow this time. So for the most part it works. Alright, so now we got that situated. Just going to save it. Now I'm going to go back to the animator again and have it so that no success again transitions when restart is, well, actually right after try again. Because technically nothing changes it. It stays the same when it goes back to their screen. But what we do need is we do need it to be like error, where it has all these as well, or all these transitions. After we scroll down, the start directory is true. We will have that. The start directory is true. Right in the conditions. There it is. And now this connects all the way up to network cleanup and true. So now end is true. There we go. Now we just make it so that has time is off for both of these. And that should pretty much be it for the part where it doesn't work again. We just need one more so that it goes from redo to success. But we do that after we do this test. Just make sure everything's set right. Alright.
The networking feature is currently enabled. Would you like to do a connection test?
Alright, when I click try again, it should transition to redo. And redo should transition back to stop. And then after that, it should be done. Yep. Except that happened a little too fast. And it's looping. Well, I know why. It's because it's in the gameplay elements. Where the script is. Loop time is enabled, which it should not be enabled for both of these scripts or animations. Alright, there we go. So that part's fixed. Now we just need to make the time more accurate. Has exit time, which is yes, it's correct. But it's just the timing was a bit too off. So we need to fix that. Alright. Probably should move this up, but I'm just going to copy it first, just in case. All the way up to, I believe 1 can work. And I don't know why I went back to that. Oh, it's because I went back to animator. Let's try again, won't work. Yeah. Unless I redone everything. Which I'm about to do, just to retest it. Alright. Yes. Alright. Try again. Should go right to redo. Alright, it was close that time. It was very close. Just needs to be a little bit longer. Except, try again. Doesn't go back and forth. But that's easy to fix as well. I'll have to change this to 1.5 or something like that. And then in the animator, just have it so that no success again goes back. Oh, great, to try again. Alright, and it would follow what air did to get over here, which would be having restart set to true. So I'm going to do that really quickly. And there we go. We got that set up. Now I'm going to go back, and it should work just fine this time. And this is pretty much the last part until we connect it to the beginning introduction scene. Alright. Try again. Yep, that worked. Except, I don't get what's going on here. I mean, it's cool nonetheless, but it makes no sense. Because animator isn't doing it right. Perma does not exist in... Oh, I guess it meant in playtime, or play mode. So that means that, yeah, because restart is enabled technically, I think. Because it should not be, like, looping like that. Did I create another animation? Connecting, what's it on? Don't think this is it. Should have been networking try again, or networking back to error again. Stop to success. Alright. In animation, I think we can see what it's doing. Well, we don't know, it doesn't tell us what it's doing, but let's see. Nope, it's not telling us anything. But I think an animation is looping in a way. Like the same animation's looping, or it's going back and forth. I think that's what's happening. Despite what I just did here, yeah. Because in here it's telling us, actually, about what's going on. So I'm just going to disable the maximize on play. Just to see what it's doing to the animator. It goes up here again. Restart is enabled. And that's pretty much why it's not doing it right. But I do know a fix for that. We can actually just go back to the error dialog here. And have this have a play animation, start animation. Just copy paste this and set this off instead. And instead of having this, we just don't need it. Like any of this on and off stuff. So I'm just going to set to that's it, right? Now it's just this restart. Will be set to off this time. Now we copy that, and when it goes back to overwrite mode 4, this would stop it from restarting all the time. Alright. Now we should see what it does. Alright. Yes. Preparing test. Alright. No server to connect to, so try again. Yep. Alright, now stop. And keep it that way, keep it that way, keep it that way. Good, good, good. Alright, did it. But I'm going to redo it. Alright, so the animations don't re-trigger, which is weird. For the most part, it works. Yeah, I think it has something in the animator here. Just not set right. To go back, this is set to stay. Oh, why is it doing that? Oh, it's because of this. Because, it likes to restart when I go right to the animator. Unless I pause it, no, I can probably just go, nope, okay, sure. But technically, it's in the animator glitch, where it doesn't restart again. I just need to see what it's connecting to, and what it's doing. Restart is right here. And then now here, start goes true, and this was what was set on, I believe. Unless it goes back here. Try again. No, I think it should work. Yeah, this has an exit time. I don't think it should have exit time at all. Yeah. That could be what it was. Because it was not transitioning at all. Alright. So I believe it should work this time. Try again. Alright, good. Now. Alright, it worked. So that fixed it. Alright. So now we need to make it so that when it's actually, like when it actually does reconnect, it goes from the redo animation all the way to success instead of stop. Because if I were to have the server enabled, which I'm enabling the localhost server right now, so servers have been started. So now it should be able to connect to it. As you can see, networking test was successful, but there is no animations to transition to, so well, it actually did transition somehow. Now it looks like there's too much on the screen as well. But that's because I've done it so many times. Try again so many times. But if I were to do it once, I wonder how that's going to go. Alright. Click yes. Parent test. Alright. So now if I were to try again, just this one time, to magically just bypass a glitch or something. So it goes from that, goes back to stop, and then it goes to success. I guess that kind of works. How's it doing? So steps. Oh. Alright. So we pretty much just need one more animation to complete the full transition between redo and success. That's pretty much all we need to do, and we're pretty much done with this part. So now I'm just going to go back to the animation window. Create my last animation. Redo to success. Alright. Go to game. Now I'm going to put everything down again, which would be here, so you can see it. All the visual effects, the perimeters, need to be set back to 0, just so I can edit all the other parts of it. Alright, so now, again, would go all the way up to 30 for the perimeter, but I'm going to have it so that going to the 2 and 4 again. Alright, 2 and 4. Now, I'm going to have it set to 30. And over here, after I record it, of course, 30. Goes back to 0. Right over here. Now, this is when the success, well actually, all the way up to 4, it would go all the way up to success. Just like that. And there we go, we got it. So now, after that, and here, we do the success. So after no success again, well actually no, try again would go all the way up to here. And I believe you can just use one of the other ones that network error had. Stop to success, yeah. This uses start 3 to true. So we can have the same thing happen here. I believe that's already set up for us in the scripts. So now we're going to save the scene after we make those changes. We'll actually redo the success. There's one more thing. Needs to lead all the way up to cleanup. once it's triggered. Right here it doesn't happen, but I believe yes has something to do with it. I'm just going to check. We just need to make one more final transitions from what we just made. Which would be yes, I believe. Yep. That's what we need. So yes is what it would read. Yes is what it would lead to. This and to true. This and to true as well. Alright. No exit time. And there we go. I think that's pretty much it for this. Alright. Click yes, prepare and test. Oh yeah, that's because I had the server online. But it was supposed to air out at first. But in order to get that to work, I need to have the server off, which I just turned it off. And then after that, I can just make it so that I could see it go from read to success instead of stop, and then success. It should work this time. Alright, yes. Okay, it airs out. It's going to do one more final try again, just in case I didn't mess anything up in the animator. Goes from the redo part. Redo fails, goes back to stop. And I could probably trim this down a bit, like the overload part, so that it's not too much of it, because I noticed that it goes all the way up to here, like the particles loop around right in the middle of what we don't want to loop around in. Especially when it overlays over stop, it's harder to see. So we fix that later though, after we check if the transitions are fine. They're mostly fine for the most part. So now server is enabled locally. Try again. Okay, connected. So now it goes from here to success, and that part worked. Except it loops, but I don't really know why. Try again. No success. One of these files is set to loop time. Just, there we go. So now it's not looping anymore. So that part's fixed. Now it's just how it overloads the entire part. And I can probably use the visual effect graph to limit its ability of doing that so that it doesn't overload and curl up in here. Which, when it succeeds, it doesn't matter, because technically it's the same color, so it just overlays it anyway. But when it stops, like when it airs out, it completely overloads it. So I'm just going to have it so that it doesn't do that anyway. Like, the particles don't curl up in the middle. But first, I just need to see what perimeter it is now here. Okay. Which is the particle effects. Alright. Disable success. And I did disable it, but it's still on. Because of the animator. There we go. Now, again, max. When that's set to 1, it appears that it actually overloads anyway. Because you can see how it goes that direction like that. And I think 2 is just enough for it to actually blade out. Or 5 is actually. Like that. But I think it's doing a little bit too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the visual effect graph. Try to fix this up. Alright. Just a position for map. That part's fine. change. It's just the intensity. Well, the drag, I think, is what does it too. If I set that to 88. Oh, that overdoes it, actually. We need less drag. Yep, that's what it is. So I'm going to set this to 0.3 or something and see if it still overloads. So here it is. So this is what should happen now. But I don't believe it goes straight to the middle now. It just goes out for the most part. Away from all diver effects. Except for this part though. We almost got it. For the most part. Alright. So I'm just gonna set it to something else. Maybe it's the intensity too. Alright. So now when it's set to 1, it's not blowing out at all. So I'm clean it up. There we go. Set it again. Yep. This makes it so it doesn't bleed out as much. Problem is I do want it to go away. Because now more of it's in the middle, which is what we don't want. So I think the intensity was fine. Yep. It just doesn't need to curl up like that. I think XerStudios can fix that, but size, set size 0.1. That doesn't really do much for us. We just need to affect the curling. Is all we need to do. I think we can do that in spawn or initialize. Yeah, initialize. That radius is set to 888 or 888. We can set that lower and see if that makes a change. I'm going to change it overloaded. Alright. Just this part, just one part goes all the way back. I think there is a way to change the direction too. Arc angle, you can try changing that all the way to 0 instead of 9 or 6. Just so it doesn't curl up like that. That's pretty much what we need to fix. Okay, change it to 1. Let's see what it does. I don't think arc angle makes that much of a difference. Nope. Set index, text index on that. Don't think it's that. Capacity bounds. Nope. Not the center and not the scale. Okay. I think it does clean up at the end. Because not much of it is in the middle. Yep. Yeah, it also does that too. Where it cleans itself up. And now, okay, this appears every like 3 hours. It's great. Alright, let's see. Must exit play mode to save. Oh. I didn't even know I was in play mode. But now, let's see how it turns out. Okay, that part works. To make it so about animation. Now here, restart. Alright, there we go. Just so I don't have to refresh the playtime. We can just do it manually. Have this off. Alright. Now I just have to turn this on, and there we go. Alright, let's see how it overdoes it. Okay, it's definitely much better. Alright, start host. Now, okay, try again. That was a little weird. Or why did that happen? Do I have it too open? Yeah, I think this is why. Too many DLL files are opened up. Try again. Alright, alright. The little screenshot didn't work the second time. Unless this broke or something. But I'm not really sure what it is. Could be because I just re-enabled it and didn't restart the playtest. So I'm going to see how it does now. It's done for the most part. So I was planning on adding gravity to the visual effects so that it can, like, instead of aiming at upwards in the direction, it would aim downwards or something else. Just so it doesn't loop back. Yes. Alright. So now let's see what it does now. Alright, worked that time. That fades away, goes upwards. And there you go. So it's weird how it makes a little tornado with the stop. Or with the error message. We could fix that using gravity instead of no gravity. I believe that's for the second entire stack for the visual effect graph. This right here is pretty much what we need. And I think an update, this is where we add gravity. And I can actually see it in real time without having to change anything. And it's already set to something for us. And I think it's correct to have it set that way. Let's see what it is now. Alright. So no animator, no success, error, and now it's that. So we're just going to need to trim it so that it's not too much. But it's like too much no matter what, apparently. Alright, that's fine actually. Now I just need to go all the way up. Alright, here it is. So now when it airs out, or when it transitions, it doesn't, you know, go up here instead of here. And because of that, now it's away from everything else. Which I would rather have that happen than anything else. But I'm going to make it more, less down. Like the particles are aiming more in the correct direction. Alright, air max. So that's 55 and back to 1. Okay, now it's spread out again. Alright. Now I'm going to gravify it. You can also do that too. And the gravity up. Just so it's away from the message box. And that's 0.1, so I don't think it's enough. Actually, it was close to enough. Alright. Just a little more. Alright. That could be better. So go back here, try again. Yep, it was better. So now stop doesn't make weird tornadoes anymore. Alright. So that part's fixed. Now we could probably do something very similar with the redo, you know, this. Because when this bleeds out, it really bleeds out. And then it leads back there, but we can just use gravity to get rid of that. So I'm going to add it right now. Gravity force. Alright, got it fixed up. Probably want to aim it down instead, or up. Actually, kind of like up. It makes it look cooler. It seems very sensitive because I have it at a very low number. Alright. Yep, that's good. So go and change it just a little bit more down. To 0.1.0 or 0.10. There we go. Now it doesn't do it too fast. So that part's fixed. So I'm going back to max. Set it back to 1. Let's see how it looks. Alright, I guess better with that. Oh yeah, that's because it succeeded, but we did change some stuff. Not with these, but the stuff I didn't see. If you can turn the server off. And I think the connection part, connect like the main default connection vapor. I think that part's fine, including the loading part where it like transitions from yellow to green. I don't think we did change the gravity forces of that. I think those are set just fine because of their shape. Like I was talking about this for the default vapor shape. Click yes. Yeah, from here to success, but that's not going to happen. But those parts are fine. There's just the error symbol and the redo part. I just need to see how that turns out if we turn the server back on. Actually, yeah, just try again once. So now stop isn't bleeding and making tornadoes anymore. And this flushes up instead of just in the middle and back to the middle again. So it automatically is clean, so it doesn't overload the screen too much. It's just right. Now if we wanted it to succeed, just hit try again, succeeds. Redo, does that, and there we go. That's pretty much done with the networking part. Now it needs to fade out, but I'll probably do that tomorrow. But I think we're pretty much done here for today. We got quite a bit done for just one part. I mean, because the networking scene had a lot to show. And we got pretty much all of it done. And now we can just begin the actual game tomorrow. And the lighting's weird because I don't have the actual suns enabled. But now the lighting's enabled and everything's right. For some reason it's extremely, like there's a lot of lag going on. Probably because I got the visual graph enabled. So I'm just gonna close it. Yep. So yeah, this is just a test scene to test out the animation third person controller system in here. So now I'm bringing it up. Right, let me just change some things really quickly. The black shirt guy, he's the main character of the game. His name's Mitch. And as you can see, he's also in the third person part as well. I just have to set up some settings so that's 100% right. So there's no smoothness. What's going on? Let's see. Scroll speed. I think it's this. Actually, no, I think it's here. Right here. Nope. Alright. It's 8 for here. Up here is what it is. There we go. It's not transitioning just right. This is just a test demo scene. Alright. So this is just some AI test that I did. It's extremely simple. There's not much to show off there. Now there's a little bit of jitteriness going on in the movement. That's because it's live streaming. I have a lot open. Including networking, so I'm just going to disable that. Alright. So the mouse movement is extremely responsive. It used to not be. It used to be too smooth. Until I figured it out. And now the controllers feel perfect right now. There's going to be a lot of mechanics in the game. And a lot of moves that you can do. And there's also a networking feature. You get to buy weapons customly made by other people that sell it on the market, like in like the shop that you can use the coins that you earn in the game to purchase. But there's no in-app purchases for this. It's just based upon the in-game currency. So, oh yeah, I was going to change the animation for when you attack. Okay. Animator A for locomotion. Okay, we don't really need to change it. Yeah. Because I would have to like actually quit out of the playtest just to change it, so I'm not going to change it. But yeah, it's a pretty basic scene. I'm not sure if this this doesn't have any animations to it anymore because I deleted them. So it pretty much ages throughout the experience. And there's a stamina system as well. But there's not much to it yet. I'm planning to add a lot more to it. You can crouch too, and you can roll. Yep, that's pretty much it so far. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. Yeah, T-pose. There's no actual animations put on them, or any poses. Since they're just models I was testing, that's how they come out. Yep. I'm actually planning to live stream more daily and more often. Not only to get my motivation up, but just to like showcase more of this game, because I know that much hasn't really been revealed yet. So I figured that if I did a daily live stream of its development, people can see more of what it's like what the gameplay, what to expect from it, all that. But yep, I might start live streaming at the same time, like I just started the stream, which would be 5 p.m. But or maybe less than that, because I actually just thought about live streaming like at 4 p.m. and it's a first timer. Which this isn't my very first live stream. I live streamed before on another YouTube channel called Shiny Game, which I had about 400 live streams published on that account that were very repetitive, and it was like the same titles, the same thumbnail, every single video that I'd done. And I'd done it with my friends and stuff, and it was fun. We just played Xbox. That's pretty much all we did. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. So, yep. Just gonna call it quits here. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Hope developers can see this and actually learn some parts from it, some parts from it, like what I did and how it works and all that, just how it looks, because like it looks like it's very complex and complicated, but it actually literally takes me 2 seconds to figure out and to mess around with. And I know it's because I know how to do it, but it literally took me 2 days to learn how this particle system works, which I learned like a couple days ago actually. And it was a very good payoff, I believe, because it's extremely cool. And I'm glad that Unity has implemented it now. Which if you want in your Unity projects, you can just go to the package manager, and on Unity 2018.3 or above, you scroll down and you should see visual effect graph right here. You just update or add it. But you also need high definition RP, which is the HDR pipeline for good graphics and such like that. But yep, that's pretty much it for today. Hope you guys all enjoyed, and XerStudios out.